And among 24 Tirthankars, these 4 Tirthankar has more detail in Jain Agam Sutras, Jain scripture. Mahavir Swami, very detailed record. Parshnath, little less than Mahavir Swami, but there is a good amount. Neminath and the Rishabdev. The remaining 20 Tirthankars, we have very few references in the Jain literature, in the Agam literature. Just their time period and very brief history of the name of their parents and the gotras and all other things, but nothing kind of it is like not even one paragraph type things, okay? So with regards to Agam is concerned, you got these 4 Tirthankars detail. Mahavir Swami is the largest, highest detail. And then the remaining Tirthankar is just the names and fathers' names and gotras and all that one, and that's it. Okay, not much detail onto it. All right. Then the second one in Kalpasutra comes life stories of acharyas. First one is the Tirthankar, and in Tirthankar is just 4 of them, more detail. The remaining one is just the name and mention in short, in brief. Now, acharyas, if you look into it, there are various categories of the acharyas happen as historical time passes by. After Bhagwan Mahavir's Nirvana, Gandhar Charitra, the Gandhar who survived after the Nirvana of Bhagwan Mahavir, where there were only 2 Gandhars, Gautam Swami and Sudharma Swami. The Bhagwan Mahavir total had 11 Gandhars. 9 of the 11 attained Nirvana while Bhagwan Mahavir was alive. So not much record you can find out about the Gandhars who attained the Nirvana during Bhagwan Mahavir's life when he was alive. Only the 2 Gandhars survived, and Gautam Swami attained the Keval Gnan next day after Mahavir Nirvana. So all the Agam literature, what we see, it is compiled by, even though we say Gandhar, but it is compiled by Sudharma Swami. Okay? 1 minute. It is compiled by the Sudharma Swami. Okay? So our tradition, this is the tradition. Again, we don't have any historical proof. That you have to keep in mind, that one. Okay. Digambar tradition believes that Gautam Swami is the one who compiled their original sastras. Pitambar tradition says Sudharma Swami. That's Gandhar means they have attained the Keval Gnan during their lifetime and they attained moksha. Jambu Swami is the last Keval Gnani Acharya. Sudharma Swami and Gautam Swami and Sudharma Swami were Gandhar. Jambu Swami was not a Gandhar. He was the disciple of Sudharma Swami. Okay. But he also attained the Keval Gnan. And that was the last Kevali Acharya. So that life stories of the Keval Gnani Acharya. Then it came out Bhadrabhal Swami, who is the last Sruth Kevali. And knowledgeable about 14 Purva. So, if you look at the time period after Mahavir's Nirvana, Gautam Swami lived 8 years. Sudharma Swami, I believe, is 12 years. If I'm, no, it could be 12 or 14, but somewhere around that time period. And Jambu Swami is a 44 years, something like that. So after 44 years and 12 years, somewhere around 60 years time period, Kevalgnani were on this earth after Bhagwan Mahavir's Nirvana. And Bhagwan Mahavir's Nirvana is 499 BC. So that is the kind of the time period what you are seeing. The after Jambu Swami attaining Nirvana, no one has attained Keval Gnan. But there are significant number of acharyas very, very knowledgeable. Their knowledge is the same knowledge as the Keval Gnani Acharya. But Keval Gnani Acharya's knowledge is from their experience, from their meditation. While up to Bhadrabhahu Swami, from Jambu Swami to Bhadrabhahu Swami, all the period about 160 years. During that time period, all the acharyas have knowledge about the soul from scripture, from Srut. Srut is just a scripture, knowledge, books. Okay? So they give the good descriptions of all the Srut Kevli's acharyas and detailed descriptions of Bhadrabhahu Swami. After Bhadrabhahu Swami, Tulibhadra is the first acharya who had convention where all learned monks get together in Patan, not Patliputra, not Patan, Patliputra, and orally compiled 12 Angagams. That's why his life, Tulibhadra, he is an acharya, but this acharya is not even Srut Kevli. Okay. That's the acharya, but he did the significant work. And Tulibhadra ji has prepared all the agam orally compiled. Okay, orally compiled, still is not written it down. Ultimately, Devardhagani Acharya, which is about 500 AD, who did write it down all these agams. And his life is in detail also. So what I'm trying to tell you, okay, these are up to this category, up to Devardhagani Acharyas, who did the final pen down, writing down all the agams. And whatever we have is of Devardhagani Acharya, all these agams. Okay, so that's little bit history on that one and give you. And the third aspect in the Kalpasutra is the rules for monk, which is Samachari. The rules for staying during monsoon, that is the Varsavaskalpa. During monsoon, which is 4 months, monks remain at one place. Otherwise, they have to keep moving from place to place to place. Other 8 months, which is not a monsoon. And this is based on Indian season. Rules for begging, Bhikshachar. There is a specific rules for begging. And I don't want to go into the details of these rules because, again, because of the time constraint. Rules of removing hair, because Lochan. Maharaj Sahib do the Lochan during this, before the monsoon season begins, okay, once a year. That's what they do it. And then forgiveness, Kramapna Kalpa. So these are the detailed rules for the monks have explained in the Kalpasutra. Now, here are the characteristics of the monk. And this one I'd like to give you a little bit more in depth. Okay. That during the first Tirthankar time, which is the Rishabdev time, the monks had certain general characteristics. For their understanding was difficult, means they are jad, it means they don't understand easily. But they implement simple, they don't argue. So they said, if you explain them, then they can implement easily. That's why their qualities are jad and ruju. Implementation is simple. The Tirthankar from 2nd to 23rd Tirthankar, that's the middle one. Their understanding is also proper. They easily understand the things. If you explain something, they easily follow it. And their implementation is also proper. So this one is the called Pragna and Ruju. But they are saying the last Tirthankar Mahavir Swami's disciples, monks, they are jad. Their understanding is very difficult. And their implementation is like shellfish. They find their way out, okay, instead of using their wisdom. They wanted to do against the rule, whatever they defined, they will find their way. And that's why Jod and Vakra. And there is one story they just explain in the scripture, in the Kalpasutra, that during Rishabdev time, monks were going for the gochering, but they saw on the way a nut or the rope. He was doing the show, and showing their talent on the rope. The person was walking from one end to another end with this one, and the monks like to watch that one, so they stand. They were there for half an hour, 45 minutes. When they went back with the gochari, Guru asked them, what makes you so long for food or for gochari? And they said, well, on the way we saw the dance. One nut was dancing, and it was very good thing. So we just saw it, and we waited it for half an hour, 45 to watch the whole dance. And Guru explained, well, look, as a monk, we should not waste our time to watch this kind of the show for our enjoyment. We got to get the enjoyment from within. So please remember this. All right? And next time when you do it, don't stand, don't watch. Fine. So that is the story, one story. However, after some time, they were going for the gochari and they found the similar incidents, but it was not a male dancer, it was a female dancer. So they, they just stayed there and watched because the guru only said for the male dancer, that means no male dancer. So they went back again and guru asked, what happened? Why are you so late? And they said, uh, we were waiting, watching the female dancer. She was the one performing. And Guru said, when I told you about the male dancer, the females are included in it. And the disciple says, well, we are very sorry. We did not understand that one is included in it. We will be very careful. Okay, did not argue with the Guru, nothing. So that's why they said it is a jad. They don't understand sometimes. And they take it literally only nut means the male dancer, and that's it. And female is included. They don't have that knowledge. That's that kind of the thing. For 22 Tirthankar, the same incidents, they explain it in the book. It said, even the first time the male dancer was dancing, they looked at it, their disciples, but nobody stayed and watched. They just came back, okay? Because they said, this is not our achar. And that is the way, no, they are explaining. But in Mahavira's time, they went, they watched the dance from the male dancer. Next time, they found the female dancer. They waited it also that time. And when the Guru said, you should not wait, because if I told you about the male dancer, female one is included. They were selfish, so they were blaming the Guru. You should have told us from the beginning that no, male dancer and the female dancers and everything, you did not do it. It is not our fault because you did not explain everything proper. That's why it is called vakra, selfish. Okay? So argument not Adinath time, Rishabdev time, it is like simple. And for here, it was like, oh, you should have explained to us everything from the beginning, and then we will practice it properly. Okay. So this is just a kind of a characteristics of the monks that existed during the first Tirthankar time, during the 22 Tirthankar time, middle time, the in the middle time they are saying they were prajna and ruju. So you say one sentence and they will understand the paragraph. I mean, that kind of the things. And Tirthankar, Mahavir, and afterwards all the monks, these are the general characteristics. It's just giving you some hint, yeah, what kind of the time is going to come during this time period, and there will be many, many problematic situations would occur. Then one more thing, Kalpasutra's reading. Now, in Kalpasutra, how are they going to read in the Upasana?